Now that I've gotten Shogun out of the way, it's time for me to talk about the new Trivium record, which is just about to come out. It's going to be coming out on August the 9th here in America, entitled In Waves. But before we tackle that, I just want to say that there are some people I know out there that actually really enjoy Shogun. They in fact think that it's a pretty awesome album. In fact, they think it's Trivium's best. And for those of you who understand these videos that they are opinion, which a lot of you do, I respect you for still watching the video, even though I bash the hell out of the album. And if you enjoy that record, more power to you. Your powers of patience are definitely greater than mine, because that was an album that just overstayed its welcome and completely just made me lose mine. I'm going to say something to you early in this video, and you're going to understand what I mean later on. Caustic are the ties that bind. Remember that. Let that wheedle into your head, and just let it stay behind your brainstem. Trivium's In Waves, the follow-up to Shogun, was an album, or is an album, should I say, that will be coming out on August the 9th. And right away, this band said that they wanted to kind of drift away from the Shogun and the Crusade sessions and harken back to something that's a little bit closer to the Ascendancy era of Trivium, whenever this band was first getting started, along with albums such as Ember the Inferno. So basically, think about Trivium Part 1/2 instead of Trivium Part 2/2. I didn't understand that Ascendancy and Ember to Inferno bordered on emo music. But apparently it did. Apparently it did. Because if you listen to some of the vocals on this album, this is the first thing I'm going to get to you on. It sounds as though this band has decided to harken, or should I say, expand their range from one side being actual metal to the other side being fucking a Trivium. Yeah. There are moments on this album where you literally stop to yourself and think, did I actually pick up a bullet for my Valentine record? Is this a day to remember? Is this a Trivium? Did I somehow find myself on some terrible tour that includes all of these bands in some sort of magical sense? You know, combined together to form one super giant turd of shit? Redundancy is fun. But yeah, there are moments on this album where you feel as though you are listening to some dumbed down emo metal that little girls and teenagers love. And it's sad, and it makes me hurt on the inside, because I think to myself, really? Is that what Ember to Inferno and Ascendancy was all about? Was I silly to enjoy that? I don't think I was. Because even going back to it today, I still enjoy it. And Shogun, I'll be honest with you, I've tried and tried and tried to like that album for a reason. And that's because at least this album, that album, Shogun, I at least consider that to be metal. And considering a lot of people really like it, they call it the best Trivium album, that's the reason why I go back to it over and over again. To try to find out what it is I'm missing. I go to it at different periods of my life. Whether I'm happy, whether I'm sad, whether I want to punch someone square in the balls. At midnight, at 3 in the afternoon, at 4 in the morning, at 7 o'clock at night. On Arbor Day, on Christmas, on New Year's, on a Thursday, on a Friday. Doesn't matter. I would try. And it just never hit for me. But this album is not going to hit for a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people out there. A lot of the Trivium fans that also like true metal. That also like things harder than Trivium, that are going to be very disappointed by this record. They're going to listen to this and think to themselves, I'm decaying my own mind to listening to something that is beneath me. Now, to those Trivium fans on the other side that like Trivium, and Trivium is one of the hardest things that they listen to, this is an album that's going to be right up their alley. They're going to enjoy this album a lot because it reminds them a lot of the other bands that they listen to. This is something that fits perfectly into that little package that they have made for themselves inside their musical brains. And then they're going to close the flaps, they're going to seal it up with duct tape, and they're going to remember it forever. It's going to be a great experience for them. For me, though, well, remember that song I mentioned to you earlier? Caustic Are the Ties That Bind? Yeah, that's the experience for me. The experience for me is, fuck the other 12 songs, fuck the other 44 minutes of the album. This is the song where it's at. This is the one track off of this whole entire album that I absolutely love. This is the album, or should I say, this is the song where I can ignore everything else, and if I want to remember any memory from In Waves, it's going to be this track, because this track is excellent. It harkens back to a lot of the old school Trivium touches from the Ascendancy and Ember to Inferno albums, but then it goes even further. It drifts into classic metal territory. It takes pit stops to even bands such as perhaps even Iron Maiden in some of the song structure. There's a very, very well put together song structure on this track. Something that I cannot boast high enough. This is the lone reason why this album, to me at least, is better than Shogun. And that's because I can take away one song from it. On Shogun, I could take away nothing. The rest of this gets very repetitive, gets very monotonous, and the only thing that it may have to its favor is the fact that they are shorter songs. There are no song on this album that eclipses the 6-minute mark, and I did myself a favor. I didn't do the special edition with all the bonus tracks. If I would have, that would have been 18 tracks, and that would have been closer to 80 minutes, and the Shogun flashbacks would start to flash in my head, and I would get post-traumatic stress disorder. This is an album that a lot of people are going to consider to be a disappointment, because to them it follows up Shogun, which was a fantastic release. For me, this is the second straight disappointment by this band. Now, I said in the Shogun video that this album had to be good for me to even say that Trivium's worth a damn. Well, they were worth a damn for one song, and that's about it. Trivium's first 3 albums for me will go down as some of the classics of that particular genre of music and that particular era of music. Simply because they were taking a harder edge, and they were willing to go outside the lines and still make a heavier style of music that wasn't quite metalcore, but in some frames was accessible to a wider audience, thus making metal a more ambitious genre for people to explore. These last 2 records have not done anything to help their cause that they had started. And if anything, this album right here has fucked it square in the ass with a rusty dick. I may have to come to the conclusion, guys, that we will never see another good Trivium record. I didn't enjoy this. There's one song that I loved, but that's about it. There are little pieces and particles everywhere else. Don't expect to see this on the top 20. I just wish that I had gotten an advanced copy of Mastodon as opposed to this. Because I would have loved to have reviewed something awesome before reviewing this miserable shit heap.